Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Changing Tides podcast. In each episode, we invite guests to have honest conversations about their mental health journeys with the goal of destigmatizing mental health within the Asian American Pacific Islander community. Due to the nature of the podcast, we'll be discussing a variety of mental health topics and possibly triggering experiences. While we and the majority of our guests are not trained professionals, we encourage you to practice self-care while listening and seek professional guidance if you or a loved one is in need of support. With that said, let's start the episode. Hello, everyone, and welcome to this episode of the CT podcast. My name is Matthew Yonemura. Just popping in to do a really short episode, episode 33, to kind of wrap up season 2 of the podcast. This has been about a year long of pretty consistently posting episodes. I felt I was a little late on a couple of them, or we were a little late on a couple of the episodes, but we pretty much made it through the whole year with filling up the episodes as regularly scheduled. And I just wanted to kind of take this chance as we're closing out the season to kind of wrap up the Changing Tides podcast on the year of 2022. Just like the first season, we had a lot of amazing guests, and we look forward to having more amazing guests. We have a couple lined up that I'm really excited about. And we just figured as LTSC is going on a break next week, I'm going to give myself a little break on the podcast and kind of have a couple of episodes just ready to go to start out 2023 strong. And I'm thinking we'll start releasing episodes pretty early February or late January. But yeah, I really look forward to doing this podcast and continuing to interview more folks from the community and hearing more stories. I always love to hear the stories of the guests that we have and even the CT crew. I work alongside so many great folks on Changing Tides, but I actually don't know a lot of their stories I hadn't heard prior to interviewing them for the podcast. So through this process, I'm learning from some strangers, some people I've known for over a couple of years, and some people I'm just meeting this year. So it's been great. I really do enjoy this podcast, and I've heard from some folks that they really enjoy it too. So it's really nice to be able to add this to the repertoire of Changing Tides content and programs and events. But looking at Changing Tides as a whole on 2022, I think we have a lot to be proud of. And I'm really happy with what this group has done. The Changing Tides crew, from Lynn, Alan, Lauren, Ty, Katie, Yua. I'm probably missing someone. I should have counted them out. Let me count them out. Me, Alan, Yua, Lynn, Katie, Ty, Lauren. Yeah, that's all of us. This group and then our different committees has been great. We've done a lot of amazing work this year, starting with the debut of CT Stream in January. That is our therapy stipend program where we provide 6 to 10 free therapy sessions to individuals between the ages of 16 and 25 years old. And that program, some folks have come and it's an anonymous program. We don't share the information of who is in the program. We keep the client confidentiality and we maintain that very seriously. But some people have told me that they are doing the program or they've done the program and how much it helped them. And that's what it's all about, to know that we're actually helping people, because it's great to start initiatives and we could think it's going to be great, but then to actually see it in motion and to see and hear tangible advances people are making in their mental health journeys, that's where we know, like, oh, we're onto something with a really great program and something that we will be continuing into 2023 and hopefully for years to come. Unfortunately, this has been a tough year on everyone's mental health, and the past few years have been really tough on mental health. And unfortunately, as I talk to more people, it doesn't sound like there's an end in sight in terms of this mental health epidemic ending. It just sounds like there's more doom and gloom, unfortunately. But not to get too negative, because I am really happy with the year Changing Tides has had. So on the positive note, we're here to help people who come across our program, and we're going to keep spreading the word about it. In 2023, there will be another program or initiative that we are super excited to debut that we can't say too much about, but not yet at least. We want to do a formal announcement, but we're so excited for that. It's a resource, I'll say that much, and a lot of the LTSC, Changing Tides folks, some of our volunteers, we went and actually did this resource ourselves, and we think it is going to be so helpful and so meaningful for people to receive it as well. So that's all I'll say on that, and I'll go back to actually talking about 2022, and I'll let you go on your way. If you're still listening to this, I appreciate you if you're actually listening to me kind of do a ramble. And if any of you loyal listeners, because I know there's a few of you out there, and thank you for those of you who have told me you're a loyal listener. If you want to hear more of me kind of do some of these ramblings, maybe we can make it a regular thing, but semi-regular thing. I'm trying not to edit this too much, so we could kind of be a real natural flow of my thoughts on things. But anyway, speaking of the mental health epidemic that we've seen, we've worked with a few families who content warning, discussion of suicide, but who have lost a loved one, a young person, to suicide. Some of which were within the last few years, but their families have sought out Changing Tides as a form of mental health where people could donate to in honor of their loved ones, or seek out resources through us when grieving the loss of individuals. So at the end of 2021, actually, one of the families approached us and said, maybe we do a walk or a walk run in memory of Nick and other people who have died by suicide, and maybe we could put together some funds to put together a resource or something like that. And we said, that sounds great. let's run with that. So we did. And then in July, we did our first ever Ripple Effect walk for suicide prevention. And we were blown away at the reception of that. Like, we could not, every day I was logging into work and checking the Ripple Effect website and the sign up page, and I was seeing more signups, more donations. And when we first came up with the event, funny enough, we were like, it'd be really cool if we got 100 people. That'd be like amazing for us on a first year. And it would be really great if we could fundraise $30,000, maybe break even on the expenses of the event, and make a little bit of money to jumpstart something. And then the community responded and said, no, that's not where we're stopping with this. We are going to show out, and I think we had over 350 people attend the event, and we fundraised over 110,000. I don't have the website in front of me, but we fundraised a lot of money to go directly into resources in relation to suicide, which I guess that's another hint to the resource that we're going to be making available in January of 2023. Hopefully January. If not, then it'll be very, very early February, but I'm pretty confident we could debut it in January. And also like CT Stream and other direct resources that we can provide to people. So, our community has grown, the Changing Tides community has grown, and we're at the same time, we're hearing more and more very unfortunate stories where mental health is taking a huge toll on people. And through events like Ripple Effect, where we get families involved and people of all ages, we're growing, and more people are hearing about what we do and the resources we provide. And it's all been such a a whirlwind to see what type of reception there is. And it's like it's bittersweet, because it's bitter because we're hearing about all these families and all these people hurting, and like sometimes it's easy to feel like, well, what can you even do about this? Like, how you can't end mental illness, and it seems like it's just the climate is getting worse. But it's sweet because it's like, well, luckily people who need it are hearing about us. So, it's good that we're around and that people support us and fund us to be able to be a program where we are able to help people. But it's also just terrible to hear some of the stories of people who've passed away, or people who are hurting right now. So again, I'm not trying to make this a negative episode, mini episode here, and I'll try to wrap this up soon. But we have a lot to look forward to, I think, and it's always so great as CT Stream has completed its first year. We have, we've worked with a lot of people, a lot more than we anticipated working with. I don't know if I'm supposed to be sharing exact numbers, but all I'll say is the original plan for CT Stream and the number of people we wanted to provide free therapy to, we more than doubled that original amount. So that's huge. And to us, it was like, well, we luckily were able to have the funds to keep helping more people, and the need is there. So let's just keep going. We surpassed that number a long time ago, and then we just kept going with it. But I say that to say that we've had a lot of people finish the program, and we send a survey to those who finished the program, and we ask them to give some feedback, and it's really actually super helpful in moving forward in how we could improve the program. But we're hearing time and time again, every single person who's gone through the program has seen improvement in their mental health, whether it be slight improvement or huge improvements, leaps and bounds. People are benefiting from CT Stream, and that's all we could ask for. So 1 full year of CT Stream stipends, first annual Ripple Effect. We held our 4th annual Changing Tides fundraiser gala in PV this last November. It was our 4th annual, and it was another hit. We had amazing guests. Paul Goodman, who was a guest on this podcast, he spoke. Ned Sasaki spoke. He was the father of one of the individuals we honored at Ripple Effect. And then Mia Stefanoff, who I know from high school, actually. Her sister was in my graduating class. She was a few years younger than us. And I came across her on Instagram and I heard her sing. And I was just like, oh my gosh, what an amazing voice. And I just reached out. I was like, hey, we're looking for a young person to perform at our gala. And if you'd be interested, I'd love to tell you more. And she came through, and she was amazing. It was an amazing program. So our Changing Tides Gala with the theme Upstream this year was a huge hit. And pretty soon we'll be posting a video from like a highlight reel of that event. So we'll be posting that pretty soon, I'm sure. We did 2 art talks this year. We've done similar things to art talks in the past, but we didn't have a title for it. We just did the paint night, which was one of the first events besides the fundraiser in PV that Changing Tides ever did. And then they did the candle making workshop. And as you can see from the name, it's all about art and talking, starting conversations. Starting conversations is kind of where Changing Tides begins everything for us. Every initiative starts with starting conversations. And so that's the talk piece. We have a mental health specialist, or we just have open dialogue about mental health. And then art. So this year, we were so grateful to have Rosie Yasukochi come and do the summer art talk at the Terasaki Budokan to do a little zine making workshop, which was a blast. And shout out to Rosie, who was also on the podcast. And then this winter, we did a mini terrarium making workshop, which was awesome. Shout out to Marissa Ngoy, which is Good Morning Cactus. And shout out to Corridor Flow, who hosted our events. And then Marissa led the terrarium making workshop. And that was the last event of the year. We've attended different tabling events to kind of spread the word. We've been on some panels. We've got to meet some amazing people as fellow panelists, as people listening to us, as people just attending events and picking up a pamphlet or painting our watering cans at our tabling events or whatever it is. But it's been such a strong year for Changing Tides, and for me personally as well. I mean, I love this work. I love the people we get to meet, and I love this podcast, even though I'm not talking to someone right now. I love this this solo moment to kind of reflect and think about all the things we've accomplished and will accomplish. I'm so grateful for the crew members on the Changing Tides crew who came before me to really set this foundation and set us up for success. And I'm so grateful for the current crew who loves to bully me so much, but who is also just such hard workers and great idea havers and great brainstormers and ask great questions and are always willing to lend a helping hand. So I just think it's onward and upwards for Changing Tides, and I'm really excited to be a part of it for as long as I can. So this wraps up season 2 of the Changing Tides podcast. I'm really excited for the upcoming guests for you to hear from, and I'm excited to talk to them. But with that said, thank you so much. Enjoy the holiday season, everyone. And this is the end of season 2 of the Changing Tides podcast. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I'll talk to you all next year. Thank you. We got